Last week I challenged myself to create a cozy fall winter recipe every day and to film it and put it in a video for you guys. I really picked the best time to do this. Like, I was cooking one pot pasta while there was a nice brisk 32 degrees outside. Anyway, this video doesn't include everything I ate last week. I only filmed the one recipe a day this time, but new what I eat in a weeks are coming. No worries. Also, thanks to Squarespace for supporting this video. Let's begin with Monday. My idea for this one was to try and make vegan shakshuka. Shakshuka is like an Arabic tomato dish with eggs. My result turned out to be quite different from the original, but very yummy still. Cut up a bell pepper, an onion, and a small piece of ginger. I don't think ginger goes into the traditional recipe, but we're not following that one. Bring a skillet with some oil to medium heat. Add the onion and ginger and let that saute for about 4 minutes. Next up, add the pepper. Bring the heat to medium high and let everything cook for another 4 minutes or so. Next up, add the chickpeas. Add your spices, something like paprika, harissa, turmeric, cumin, salt of course. Now add some passata and some water and let this all come up to a boil. In my opinion, cooked avocado tastes like the yellow part of a boiled egg, the yolk as some might call it. Then again, my taste buds might be weird, and also I haven't had a real egg in forever, but try it and let me know if you can also tell some similarities between the two. Once the avocado is added, let this all simmer on medium-high for another 6 minutes or so, and before serving, maybe finish it off with a sprinkle of namak. I had this with some leftover bulgur, half of a lightly toasted durum wrap, and about a tablespoon of this yellow lentil spread I found at the vegan store recently. I'm gonna have to go back and buy this again, or try and make it myself, because this was a really good spread. My friend Julie and I had an insanely aesthetic picnic on Tuesday night. She brought vegan quesadillas and a homemade cherry kombucha. I brought some one-pot pasta and greens, some one-pot vegan bolognese to be more specific, and here's the recipe for that. I chopped up 2 shallots, 2 small stalks of celery, and 1 or 2 little carrots. Bring a large soup pot or skillet with some oil to medium high. Besides the vegetable oil, I'd also added like a tiny bit of sesame oil. I think that just adds a really nice roasted flavor. Once it's hot, add the veggies and let them saute for about 6 minutes. And then it's time to add your faux minced meat. I went for this soy-based one I found at the organic store. That one's alright. Gets a 6.5 from me. You could also use a block of smoked tofu instead and break that up using a fork. Let it cook for another 3 minutes. Add the tomato puree and mix that in thoroughly. At this point, I wish I had some red wine to add, but the closest thing to wine I could find in my kitchen was some balsamic glaze sauce. Now add the vegetable broth, the passata, and 2 bay leaves. Mix it up and let the sauce come up to a boil before you add some shortcut pasta. Let it continue to simmer until the pasta is tender. Mine took around 12 to 15 minutes. Also, you're most likely going to have to add a bit more water as it's cooking here and there. Add your seasoning and salt towards the end. I also mixed in some barbecue sauce, ketchup, and spring onion. This was super yummy. Wednesday's recipe is not really a meal. No, it's not a meal at all. It's a drink. A sweet potato latte. The night before, I'd roasted a sweet potato in the oven for like 45 minutes until soft. In the morning, I added a couple tablespoons of that baked potato to my blender, as well as some almond butter, vanilla paste, cinnamon, ground flax seeds, a pinch of salt, and hot plant milk. Feel free to add some sweetener to taste. I was using oat milk and that made it naturally pretty sweet. I ended up using some more of that baked potato for Thursday's breakfast, and that was a bowl of sweet potato overnight oats. Grab some small cut oats. Measure out about a half a cup. Add a pinch of salt, some cinnamon, chia seeds, some form of vanilla, a few tablespoons of the mashed sweet potato, some vegan yogurt. This I found at the organic store. It's made from oats, and it tastes a lot less like yogurt and much more like buttermilk or kefir. So if that's not for you, beware, because I had to get used to that taste for sure. Also mix in some non-dairy milk. Put a plate on top. Place this into the fridge and leave it in there overnight, or just for a few hours. I had this the next morning with a grated apple, some almond butter, and a tiny bit of maple syrup. Friday was my sister's birthday and she wanted me to make her chocolate muffins. So I simply just followed my chocolate cake recipe. Link to that will be up above and down below. So I filled up the 12 muffin molds all the way and let them bake for 25 to 27 minutes at 180 degrees Celsius. Whilst the muffins were cooling down, I managed to not only burn one, but 2 batches of chocolate. I was gonna pour that on top, but then I found this vegan green cake decor icing. Jetzt hat jemand so Gummibärchen draufgelegt. I then made a simple glaze out of powdered sugar and oat milk, and some of that green color. Here's also some edible golden glitter, and overall the muffins ended up looking like they were made by a group of kindergartners. I don't think the muffins really count as a full recipe, so here's how I made this cheesy bean and veggie bake we had for dinner. I first let 3/4 cup of cashews soak in some hot water for like an hour. In the meantime, preheat your oven to 200 degrees Celsius and chop up all of your veggies. A bunch of mushrooms, 2 bell peppers, a medium-sized onion, 2 smaller-sized sweet potatoes, and 1 small head of cauliflower. I put the sweet potatoes and the cauliflower together on one tray, added some oil and salt, and then I put the mushrooms, peppers, and onions together on a second tray. The 2 baking sheets went into the oven for about 30 minutes. I put the one with the onions on the lower rack. In a food processor, blend up the following: the soaked and now drained cashews, some lemon juice, nutritional yeast, non-dairy milk, and some store-bought tomato sauce. Then taste test and add salt to your liking. Now grab a casserole dish. Add the roasted veggies, then add some beans of your choice. Spoon your cashew sauce on top of that. Finish it all off with some more nutritional yeast and a couple slices of vegan cheese that hopefully will melt better than the one that I used. Bake this for 30 more minutes, and that's it. I had this with some fresh spinach and some sriracha mayo. Highly recommend. My brother found a dusty, old, and slightly crusty portable stovetop in our attic. I'm very happy about that because that means I can include a soup recipe in this video. Or stew. Yeah, it's a stew. Chop up 2 cloves of garlic, a small piece of ginger, an onion, a bell pepper, a handful of mushrooms, and a block of smoked tofu. Also cut up some potatoes, which we'll get to in a sec. Bring a big soup pot with some oil to medium heat. Add the onion, garlic, and ginger first. Let that cook for about 3 minutes. Then add the mushrooms and pepper. Let that saute for another 3 minutes before mixing in the tofu. Then bring the heat to medium-high and add some white wine. That can be substituted with vegetable broth or even orange, apple, or grape juice. The potatoes go in next. Then all your spices, a couple tablespoons of tomato sauce, water, and a handful of cashews. Bring it all up to a boil and let it simmer until the potatoes are nice and soft. This takes around 20 to 25 minutes. Definitely stir every once in a while. Add a bit more water if necessary. And in the end, I threw in some chickpeas as well and like a couple handfuls of fresh spinach that quickly wilted into nothingness. Taste test it before serving and enjoy. One of my brothers was like, Amina, usually I don't like the stuff you make, but this is amazing. I mean, I'll take it. Sunday, I decided to make an apple and peanut butter crumble, or a crisp. Preheat your oven to 180 degrees Celsius. Peel some apples. This is a great way to get rid of some bruised ones. Cut them into small, bite-sized pieces and place them inside a mixing bowl. Add the juice of half a lemon, some cinnamon, and a little bit of maple syrup. Give this a quick mix, and then transfer the apples to an oven-proof dish. It should be around the size of a small brownie pan, or could also just be a brownie pan that you use. To the same bowl, no need to clean it, add the ingredients for the topping. Small cut oats, flour, cinnamon, baking powder, salt, raw or brown sugar, melted vegan butter, and a heaping tablespoon of peanut butter. Mix it up with a spoon first, then switch to your hands. While you're doing that, add the non-dairy milk 1 tablespoon at a time until you reach this crumbly consistency. This now goes on top of the apples. Press down the topping lightly and put it into the oven for a total of 40 minutes. Let it cool for like 10 minutes, then serve it immediately. This might not be the most aesthetic treat, but it was pretty tasty. My other brother, the one that's not the picky one, was saying this was the best dessert I've ever made. Now on to today's sponsor that helps you make and manage your own professional website using only one platform. That platform, you guessed it, is Squarespace.com. They provide you with a wide range of beautiful and spicy looking website templates. There are endless options for how your site could look because you can customize it to fit your personal brand exactly, with hundreds of fonts, colors, and stock photos. And if you need help along the way, you will be covered with personalized 24/7 support by email, live chat, or by joining a live webinar. Also, do you have a logo? I actually need one, I think. I should go and try out Squarespace's logo maker. They also have templates for email newsletters now. Head to squarespace.com/MinaRome or use the code MinaRome to save 10% on your first purchase. Thank you so much for being here and for sticking around until the very end. Bye!
Perfume on the sink, and my breath still smells like drink. I can feel my head or think, and I gotta work today.